Dugout Man, and this is my Sandbach United series, going from grassroots to glory, and the target is to take my team with no reputation, with a manager with no reputation, and see if the two of them together can make a beautiful symphony as we work from league to league, trying to get us into the Football League. Last episode, we came up against Rylands in the first game of our third season at Sandbach United, and it didn't go exactly to plan. We were outplayed, played off the park, we were battered, 4-0 down at half-time. Dan Smith finally got a goal, Scott Wilson missed a penalty, Josh Hines got sent off, and I'd like to blame him for the defeat, but we can't really when we were 3-0 down before he got sent off, so that's just one of them things. It was a really poor performance. Only Dan Smith really showed anything in the whole game, and it left us a little bit concerned that all these signings that I made were not as good as I thought they were. But it could just have been that because we played so many of our new signings in one go that we just weren't gelling together maybe, but you'd have thought that some of the friendlies that they'd all played together would have made a difference, but obviously not. But never mind, that's how it goes. So what we're going to do, this is our highlights package. So we're going to go to the next match and show you how we got on. So the next match was against Avro, a team who we played on the last day of last season, and whilst we hammered them in that game, it was bitter disappointment as it wasn't enough to take us into the next division. So we started with a corner from Walker, header from Dan Smith. That was 1-0 after 10 minutes of play. And then Brogan swings in a free kick for Skerritt, one of the new defenders, slots home, 2-0. And Skerritt with a long ball forward, which Dan Smith plays a beautiful ball to Voltman, a striker who I'm really excited about. He was able to slot it home for 3-0. And that was Sandbach's first win of the season at home against Avro. Happy days. And as you can see, in terms of the match stats, we were pretty much in control of that game. Slightly lower on the possession, but we play counter-attacking, so that's no surprise. So then we come to our second game of the highlights package, and that is against Armthorpe. And this is in the FA Cup, the first preliminary round, and we are at home, and with 85 minutes on the clock already gone, Moonan is able to play this long ball forward to Voltman, who takes on his man and then threads the ball for Guy, who first time pokes it into the corner. A superb goal, lady, with just 4 minutes of normal time left. That is fantastic, and you think that is it, but into injury time we go, and Bro crosses the ball to Snowden. He's a cool guy, Bro. But Snowden slots it home nicely, and sadly that meant that we go to a replay. But in fairness to Armthorpe, they absolutely hammered us, so I think we probably didn't really deserve the win anyways. But it did mean that we had to go back to Armthorpe to take them on their own turf. And indeed, the return leg was the very next match. So Armthorpe against Sandbach United, and it took to the 71st minute once again for another tight match to get its first goal, and it was Snowden to Chorley to Bartram. I'm not quite sure what the defence and keeper were doing there, but they allowed a silly goal. But then in the 96th minute of the game, just as they broke our hearts in the first leg, Guy was able to just bundle a ball over the line to take it to a penalty shootout, in which Smith scored for Armthorpe, and then Vincenzi for Sandbach, and then Bartram missed, Mewett with a save. Reiki was able to make it 2-1 before Smith, another Smith for them, hits the bar, but it does not go in. So Dan Smith for us shows them how to do it. That is 3-1. Harkin scores to make it 3-2. So it didn't actually show us, but Miles Anderson slotted in the winning goal. I'm not sure why it didn't show, but I tried to replay it again. You will have seen that, but sadly it won't show me that goal. But just be assured that Miles Anderson, as it says there, scored. So 4 penalties scored to their 2. It was enough to see us as the winners and going through to the next round. So then we come to an age-old rivalry with New Mills. Every season that we've been around, This has been a team that has been difficult to beat, but a team that we've really thoroughly enjoyed playing against. So here we go. Very early in the game, Berry brings the ball forward and crosses it to Dan Smith, who slots it in. 1-0 to Sandbach United. What a great start to the match. And then Bailey Prudo tries to head the ball away. Hayes, the ball's crossing to the far post, and I'm not totally sure what Meffet was doing there. He just stands and watches as the parried down ball bounces into the goal. It was really poor. But then, to save the day, not for the first time this season, Guy comes in and makes it 2-1. So Ben Guy is beginning to look at quite a prospect. As you can see, it was a pretty close and even match as we come to expect with matches against New Mills. On to the next game. Then we come to Longbridge, who were a team in the promotion pushing race for last season. Promotion pushing race. But Dan Smith very quickly, 25 minutes in, able to send us on a way to what should be another good victory. And then Crowther plays Brewster in, who scores a goal. Really shouldn't be scoring from there, but this seems to be quite common in FM20. And then Longbridge really upsetting the apple cart. Brewster again with a good header. That is 2-1 against Sandbach United, and beginning to get a little bit worried. Then Dan Smith, Ben Guy, Brogan crosses the ball in, Berry, Voltman. If you notice, the names of all these players seem to be strikers. That's because we're playing everybody up front at this point. And then Brogan in the 84th minute with a free kick, which Dan Smith picks the rebounder, finds Berry, finds Thomas. Thomas is that little defender that I mentioned, who I think is going to be really good. And there it was, a 3-2 win. I don't know why that screen's popped up, but we'll take it. It's got the formations, it's got the match stats. But what a fantastic result in the end, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat against Longbridge. So then we come to the second preliminary round in the FA Cup against Lincoln United. We've been drawn away, and I was a little bit worried about this match, with good reason really, because we've not been very convincing. But we broke away in the 42nd minute of the game. Voltman with a lovely little finish. We're playing an unusual formation, which I have played around with the formations a little bit. But this is like a 4-2-3-1 formation, is it? Something like that. And yeah, so... Oh, no, I remember now. We've got 3 centre-backs in this. But Voltman then makes it 2-0 before Hines gets a ball on the wing, crosses it in. Should focus on the game while the goals are flying in, really. Reiki with a beautiful finish, making it 3-0. And it couldn't get any better than that for sure. Then Hines swings over the ball, and Thomas, for his second goal in successive matches, makes it 4-0. So yeah, we weren't expecting us to play as well as we did. I suddenly remembered that I played a back 3 in that particular match, and it worked really well. Reiki, Moonen, Binns, Berry, James Berry, Josh Hines, Dan Smith, and Max Voltman up front starting that game. And Max Voltman's really beginning to find some form of making it difficult for me to pick between him, Smith and Guy, who are going to be the 2 to play in each match. So then we come to a local rivalry, not a we, with 1874 Northwich and Sandbach the team in blue. Northwich, presumably then, are playing in green. And Northwich breaking through and slotting a goal early doors, 11 minutes into the game, at the near post, pretty disappointing. Before Voltman in the 35th minute slots home to make it 1-1, and there we go. And that was the same tactic, and this is the frustration that I've been finding this season, is that if I play the same tactic more than once, we don't seem to win on the second attempt. So I'm having to move the tactics around and think about the teams that I'm playing against. It's getting quite complicated in winning these games. So then we come to the game away against Bootle. There's only one goal to tell you about in this game, and Jamie Guy is the one who brings it in. Sorry, it's Ben Guy. I'm giving him a different name here. Nobody could get anywhere near him at any point, and eventually he slots it home. That was actually early on in the game, the 9th minute. It was the only goal of the game, but we were back to 4-3-3 in that particular game, and yeah, we seemed to play okay, but we should have been beating a team like Bootle a lot better than that. Then we come to the match that I intended to show you as a live com, but then I felt like we'd played that many cup games and hardly any league games that we needed to get further on in the season before we did a live com. And so we've played many more games since then. But yeah, so AFC Blackpool, we were going to go and visit them by the sea, but it turns out they wanted to come to us first. So Sandbach United, the home side in the blue, and Voltman to Brooks. And Hines with a beautiful volley, 47 seconds on the clock, and that was 1-0. And then a whole 5 minutes later, and the ball was gifted to Hines, who picked out Dan Smith, who turned and belted it in 2-0. And would you believe there were no more goals in that game? That was us playing it at 4-4-2 again. Good domination of the match, 14 shots to their 7, 9-3 on target. They had a little bit more possession, but they were chasing the game from the 6th minute. So we can basically say that we won that well and truly in the early stages of the game. Then we came to the FA Cup first proper qualifying round, and we got drawn against a really difficult team actually. Bedworth are a pretty good side, and we should have been going sort of like according to our vision statement. We should have been making the next round of this particular competition, but it was never going to happen when we were drawn against a team who's got many players in it who have played at league football and above, and so it was a goal scored by Oliver, a beautiful goal. It was the only goal of the game. I think we accredited ourselves really well, but one thing's for sure, Bedworth were not FM'd. 54% possession, 22 shots to our 4. They were in control for the whole game, and well, congratulations to them. But once again, we played the same formation for 2 games running and ended up in defeat. So then we come to our local derby with Congleton. We were the away side, and we're playing 4-4-2. I was going to play 4-3-3, and then I realised that's the formation they were playing, so we stuck to 4-4-2. And in the 4th minute of the game, Davidson brings the ball down the wing. Lovely flicking, and Dan Smith gets there to slot it in. That is 1-0. Then in the 6th minute, Davidson again charging forwards, nobody getting to him. He slots the ball through for Voltman, and that is 2-0. And then we come into the 34th minute. Davidson again involved. Rolls it back to Asafu Ajay, who crosses the ball in. Bailey Prudo, as he did last season many times, at the back post, slots it home. And just when he thought everything was home and hosed and we were all comfortable, that happens. And, it's pretty disappointing. Defending, goalkeeping, and Hastings was happy to capitalise on it. But 3-1 win, we were comfortably the better team. But we did play to the disadvantages of their formations. One thing I would say is we did make tactical changes in that we played down both wings. And I think you can see by the ratings that definitely played a factor in beating this team. So whilst we played the same formation, the tactics were not exactly the same. We did make specific changes for this specific formation. Then we come to the FA Vars second qualifying round against AFC Sudbury Reserves. And, again, I was expecting a close game. But Ben Guy breaking through, and a good finish from him. And it just seems to be, at the moment, we're playing game after game where whichever striker we put on the pitch seems to at least chip in with 1 goal. We are scoring an exceptional amount of goals. Sudbury soon proving their credentials by getting back in. A little bit disappointed again with Muick the keeper, but that was 1-1. Guy with the corner swings it in, and Voltman slots in unmarked free header, 2-1. Now there's both strikers on the score sheet yet again. Voltman to Earl, the ball crossed in. Dan Smith, we've got 3 strikers on the pitch and 3 goals. This is incredible. And then Earl and Volkman again, almost identical to the last one, except Earl holds off a little bit and Dan Smith finishes with his right foot. And he's ecstatic with that, as I was, I have to say. And then Reiki to Brooks. The ball crossed in. Dan Maguire, the fourth striker to be on the pitch and to score the fifth goal of the game. But the strikers really did us proud there. As you can see, we played 4-3-3 again in that match. I don't actually know why I decided to do that, but it worked, and we were comfortably through to the next round of the Cup. So 3 more games to go. This one is away against Abbey Hay. Sandbach United in blue, Abbey Hay in red. And we got off to another good start. 19 minutes in. Davidson on the wing has been superb for us this season. Guy, what a guy he is as well. Ben Guy with another goal. Lucky Lou, who's been having a bit of a resurgence in the side of late, finds Davidson again, who finds Dan Smith. 2 strikers on the pitch, both of them on the score sheet. Happy days, 2-0. And nothing can go wrong from this point. Or can it? Ellis to Stott. Stevens, 65 minutes should I say, into the game. And that is 2-1. And then Coffey runs forward, finds Lee. This is in the 82nd minute. And all of a sudden, what looked like a comfortable victory has been pegged back to 2-all. And I was really disappointed because we were FM'd in that one. We were in complete control, and then somehow just a couple of chances that they created in the whole game, and they managed to score from them. But as you can see, we played 4-4-2 in that one, and the strikers both getting on the score sheet. It's becoming a bit of a trend, but we're scoring goals. That's one thing we can say. It's exciting to watch. Then we come to AFC Emley, and we are the home side in the blue, they are in the white. Let's get straight into the highlights. Reiki to Davidson. As I say, Davidson has been exceptional, getting down that right side. Finds Ben Guy, and he slots it home for 1-0. AFC Emley in the second half. In the 50th minute of the game, plenty of time for them to stage a title-spoiling victory as Pring pings it in. I thought it said ping at first. Hines then plays the ball to Volkman, charging through. The keeper's in no man's land, so it's easy for him just to shift it to the right and slot it home. Volkman makes it 2-1. Volkman was brought on and scored that goal, and then almost identical, he's put through again, and again slots it, same corner. Beautiful finish, great composure, 3-1 and 2 goals for Volkman. And last but definitely not least was an away match against Runcorn Town. Runcorn in the blue, we're in the white, and I can honestly tell you in this game Runcorn were far superior. This is not the first time this has happened. They completely outplayed us, many more chances, but Volkman picks it up on the wing, crosses it beautifully to Guy, who heads home. He is superb with his headed goals. Ben Guy. And that was the only goal of the game. As you can see, 10 shots on target to our 3, 17 shots in total, a 50-50 in possession. But my goodness, we FM'd Runcorn Town there. And that brings us to the end of our highlights, and really all we need to do now is check out where that has left us in the Hallmark Security North West Premier Division. We are sitting in 4th place with Skelmersdale just above us on the same amount of points but played a game more. And the 2 teams above us are 4 points and 3 points ahead respectively, but they've both played 2 games more than us. Just like last season, we seem to have acquired a few games in hand, and that is, I would prefer to have the points on the board, let's just put it that way. But I would say that things are going reasonably well. We're not the finished article yet. We're still beatable. We're still finding teams that can dominate against us. And they're not particularly good teams either. If you think of Runcorn Town there, they're sitting in mid-table. And they should not be outplaying us. And AFC Emley were another team that we struggled to overcome. Funny thing is, the teams at the top like Longbridge and New Mills, we've done really well against. We'll not mention Rylands because that's just a painful memory to me. We will find a way of beating that team at some point, I promise you. But no, we're doing okay. We have got one little bit of news which I will bring you now rather than at a later date. And that is in our transfer history we find that James Berry has left us. He was a player who I probably undervalued and underused quite a lot, really, but particularly last season. This season he was getting plenty of games, but he's gone. He's left us. And once again, it's Colne who seem to have taken a liking to our players. They've already snatched one of our players earlier in the pre-season. I will tell you when I get back to him who that was. There it was. It was Josh Wicks. So now, not only have they taken Josh Wicks from us, they now have James Berry too. They will soon be the ex-Sandbach United brigade, as they have managed to coax two of our key players over to their team. So thank you for watching the highlights package. We're going to get straight into some more games over the coming fixture list. If you look at it in context, if you took the cups out, actually there's quite a good sea of green in there, with that defeat that we've had to Bedworth being the only one since the debacle at Rylands. So we're going to look at the games of Burscough, Camel Laird and Winsford. Games that we've seen us play against these teams before, so it's really good to be able to come up against some old foes, and hopefully we can continue our good run. But we'll wait and see for the live comms. And if you like what you've seen today, just remember this is the only YouTube channel that I know about that shows you every single goal from every single game. And so hopefully you're enjoying it, and as we come to the next match against Burscough, hopefully there'll be plenty more goals to see, but they're going to be the live comms for those games. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, like and subscribe, leave a comment, it'd be great to hear from you. Thanks for watching. I'm Dugout Man, and I'm out.